Hey everyone, hello from England. It's 28 Celsius here, woo, bright, which is about 80 degrees, as we say in Scotland. That's pure roasting. Very hot for down here. But something that's been in my mind for a while that I wanted to share is that if you are a Christian that is angry with God, then you need to deal with that. You need to fix that. And if you're angry with God, there's probably a reason for that. Probably most likely it's because of disappointment, that he didn't do what you thought he would do, or what you felt like he should do, and that you felt like he just didn't come through for you. And I can absolutely relate to that very much. And when my kids went back to the States with their mom in 2020, that was absolutely devastational for me, heartbreaking. And many of you will know that I tried to follow them, but because my green card had recently expired whilst I was living in Scotland, the American consulate in London stopped me from getting another green card, even though I said I was going to live near my children, because I was in the process of going through divorce, and they said that I'd broken the law. Can you believe that? Broken the law, because I was living in my own country of Scotland, because I didn't want to live in America at that time, and as a family we were in Scotland. And so when I tried to go back, it was blocked. So absolutely heartbreaking, and I've applied a couple of times since, been denied both times, because at the times when I was in transition, I was in a ministry school getting healing for myself, and I didn't have a job, so they didn't want that. They thought I was a flight risk. So currently I'm now starting a business with Jen. We're not starting, we've started it, and it's going well. And so soon I will apply for a visa again, because that way I can show that I have money. All that's long story to say that I dealt with great disappointment with God, and I'm not sure if I was at the anger stage. Probably I did have that, but being a good religious boy that I was, I wouldn't let myself really engage and get in touch with the anger that was there. And it's been a long journey. I have seen my kids several times, but nowhere near close as much as I would like to. And thank God they're coming for 3 weeks, in 3 weeks' time, and I'm so excited about that. We can't wait to receive them. But it's been a very difficult situation, and one I never would have found myself, or thought I would have found myself in before. Being away from my babies and missing out on so many things. Thank the Lord for FaceTime. But I had to do a lot of really, crying out to God for why He allowed this situation, and many things. Why I was in such a difficult marriage, and things like that. And those emotions are in us, whether we articulate them or verbalize them or not. And because our spirit can feel the pain, it can feel that disappointment, and so can our soul. And we can also have it held in our body, and our body is affected by the pain that is there. So it's much better just to be honest with God about how we feel. And for me, I wasn't great at expressing my emotions. Sometimes when it would really be painful, then there would be certainly emotions and lots of tears, or I was just maybe in a constant state of sadness. But I remember I had one specific prayer time where the cry of my heart, the frustration, the disappointment came out. And that came after I was able to give God permission to access my emotions. Somebody had a prophetic picture for me and said, I see that there's a cement block here, and it's blocking you. And I thought, oh my goodness, no, I don't want to hear that, because I thought I was okay. I thought I was healed, but I realized God wanted to get under this rock, because He can't go where we don't let Him go. Think about that. He can't go where we don't allow Him to go. So we have to give Him permission to heal, to restore. And thank God I did. I was scared, but I did. And after a couple of weeks, I felt things shifting, and then I was receiving prayer. And then the healing came. The cry of my heart, the sadness came. And God massively touched me and healed me. But, anger with God, like I said, it comes from this disappointment with God. And we think that God's withholding from us. And this is the place where the enemy comes to us and makes us think that God is withholding. And that's what he did in the Garden of Eden in Genesis 3, he said to Eve, "Did God really say that you can't eat from the tree?" And he put that doubt in her, the doubt, making her think that God was withholding. And this is what the enemy does. When we have traumatic situations, he runs and very quickly jumps into the situation and begins chirping in our ear. And when we're in trauma, we're in a place of overwhelm, and we're not, our spirit, it gets crushed, and we're overwhelmed, and the soul rises up to try to protect us. And so in those moments, that's where the enemy comes in. And we know that the enemy just crouches at the door waiting for access, and he does not play fair. He comes to steal, kill, and destroy. And one of the things he wants to destroy, when you experience trauma, sometimes he arranges the trauma. Sometimes trauma is just a result of being in a broken world, a fallen world. But when that trauma comes in, his goal is to steal, kill, and destroy, and to kill our relationship with God. And the devil is so crafty, so sneaky, that he doesn't come in all at once, but it's a subtle, gradually building, eroding over time, eroding our faith, eroding our belief system, eroding our trust in the goodness of God. And if our circumstances aren't lining up with what we think they should be, that is when we need to cry out to God to say, "God, what is happening?" Sometimes he won't give us all the answers, but what I guarantee you he will do is to strengthen you in your state of overwhelm. I remember one time right around COVID, when I had just had to say, within months of saying goodbye to my children, that God said to me, "Mike, you need to give this burden to me, otherwise it's going to emotionally cripple you." And I already felt emotionally crippled. Every day was filled with sorrow and overwhelm at not being able to be with them. And so I chose to give him my overwhelm, to give my children to him, to put them in his hands and say, "God, I'm going to let you carry them." And I tell you what, I felt an amazing grace come into my life, a strengthening and an ability to keep going. And there was definitely days where it was hard, very, very hard, many days, but it definitely got easier because God was carrying it for me. And he's done so many things in my life in these last few years and healed me in more ways than I could ever have imagined. I thought I knew what healing was, and I thought I was healed, but what I realized is that time and knowledge does not equal healing. Healing equals healing, and they're not the same thing. So many of us have huge wounds, I still do, and things that God is healing, and areas that God wants to get to, but our anger, our frustration with God keeps him from being able to access that. And anger and being upset is not wrong, but it's recognizing, why are you upset? And like I said, it's probably because of disappointment that God hasn't done what he was going to do, or what you thought he should do. Well, he always does what he says he's going to do, I guarantee you that. But we've got to wrestle with these emotions. We've got to look at our anger. Why are we angry? We've got to take our hurt to God and pour out our emotions to him, our feelings to him, and let him come in and speak to us. And I know that if he had just let me go to the States, I would have been in a place of absolute overwhelm, trying to survive on my own, trying to heal from narcissistic abuse, and just really struggling. But what he did was guide me to a place where I received, like I said, a massive healing. And for the last 4 years, it's been just a journey that I could never have imagined going on, because God gave me new revelation and understanding about the need for healing. Everybody needs healing. Everybody's experienced overwhelm and trauma, and God has just done wonders in my life. Gave me an amazing wife that understands the healing journey, that can walk with me in healing, and now we're helping many others on that healing journey as well. So I've learned something that I never would have, and because of that, I can actually be an even better father. I can talk to my children online on FaceTime in a way that I couldn't have before, and I have an awareness of what they need from me and what I can give them down the road. And when I'm with them now, I have an awareness of the pain that they've been through, having a broken parents that divorced, and how I can help them walk through healing. And I've had so much understanding, and I am more me than I've ever been. And that is what God does. God restores us. God heals us. God pours life back into us. And he does that when we're real and honest, with the emotions that we feel. So this recording was longer than I thought, so I just hit record and start talking. But if you've got anger with God, don't waste another day of just letting that anger be there. Please go to him, deal with it. Surrender your idea of what you think God should have done in your life. You know, if you've given your life to him, then he takes that seriously, and he believes that you meant that. And so maybe there's things that have happened to you that, you know, you think, well, this has happened to me, but you've got to realize that they probably happened for you. And God works all things together for good. And sometimes, yes, he does allow us to go through extremely heartbreaking things so that we can be who we are meant to be. And that we can grow in perseverance and character, we can grow in faith. And that's what he's concerned about. That's what he most wants. And, you know, hopefully if you can really engage with God, you can voice your emotions to him, your disappointment to him, you can receive that healing. Because I think when we really say how we feel, then we're engaging with our emotions. And we can see that King David was amazing at doing that in the Psalms, engaging with his emotions. And, you know, it's important to not be afraid of the emotions. And then the healing can happen. It's that exchange as we share our emotions that he can come and heal us. And we know when we're healed. And remember, healing is not more knowledge or time. It is time with the Father. And he just wants to touch and restore your life and bless you and strengthen you so that you can run. And you're not just, you know, crawling along and walking lame. You know, it talks about in Hebrews strengthening the knees, strengthening the places that are weak, and just going from strength to strength. So he wants connection with you. He wants to get that anger out of the way. He wants to speak to you deeply and powerfully in the way that only he can, because you are immensely valuable to him. So, my friend, do not waste another day being angry at your beautiful, loving Heavenly Father. He wants to hear from you, and he wants to heal you.